Clark in transition. Yes!
She's Diana Taurasi. She's Steph Curry. She's insert great shooter. I think it's helped her teammates find more confidence.
Clark and one.
She is incredible.
These are Caitlin Clark's most jaw-dropping shots this season. One game, one moment, one shot that left everyone in awe. First up, the logo shot that shattered records. It was a regular season game against Michigan when Clark pulled up from the logo just 3 minutes into the game.
Get the ball up in time. Clark for the win.
The arena erupted, and Caitlin just smirked as if it was routine. This wasn't just a shot, it was a statement. With every defender's disbelief and the fans roaring, that moment wasn't just another point, it was history in the making. But if you thought that was impressive, you wouldn't believe what came next. Her buzzer beater against Indiana turned into an instant classic. The clock was winding down, the score was tied, and Caitlin had ice in her veins. Clark dribbles, steps back, and fires. At the buzzer, bang! She wins it for Iowa.
Doesn't matter if everyone knows whose hands it's supposed to be in. Magic happens when magic happens, and we've seen.
The crowd erupted, fans screamed, and her teammates rushed to celebrate. The shot was not just clutch, it was a testament to her fearless nature. Caitlin stood there, arms raised, soaking in the moment as if it was all part of her plan. But she wasn't done, not by a long shot. Then came the Big Ten Championship, where the stakes were higher than ever. The game was in the final minutes, and Clark had the ball. She eyed her defenders, 2 of them closing in on her. But it didn't matter. She had already envisioned the shot.
They needed a bucket, so guess what? They went 22's way.
I mean, I think she's listening to me, Lisa. What do you think? I think this is just what she does. She hits shots at the most crucial moment.
This wasn't just another game. It was Caitlin Clark putting on a masterclass. Her teammates knew it, the fans knew it, and so did everyone watching at home. It was the play that sealed their victory and reminded everyone why she was the name to remember. But her most heart-stopping moment came against Nebraska. This was the kind of shot that defied the laws of physics. She was off balance, stumbling, yet somehow managed to launch the ball.
In the offensive glass tonight as well, this afternoon.
Clark fade away. 3 and the foul! Just absolutely nasty from Caitlin Clark.
Greatness on full display.
This was the kind of play that turned her into a legend. You could see the disbelief on the defenders' faces. But if you thought that was peak Clark, you were in for another shock. Against Rutgers, Caitlin delivered a highlight that showcased her sheer skill and confidence. With the shot clock winding down, she pulled off a behind-the-back dribble that sent her defender stumbling backward.
Jam-packed here. Arenas are sold out all across the Big Ten. Clark for 3. Hits again.
Fans couldn't believe what they just saw. It wasn't just the shot, it was the whole sequence. The poise, the creativity, and the execution. It was pure basketball poetry, and Caitlin was the author. But these weren't just isolated moments. They were a season-long testament to her brilliance. Her deep 3 against UConn was another highlight that deserves its place on this list. The game was intense, and both teams were fighting for every point. Caitlin stood well beyond the arc, the defense daring her to shoot. Clark from downtown, it's in, she's unstoppable.
Foul. Looking to spin away from traffic, double screen, gets open, and hits! First 3 of the night for Caitlin Clark. Huge bucket there for Ice Brady.
Ice Brady, a player for UConn.
This was what made her different. Her ability to shift the tide with a single shot. Defenders learned the hard way that there was no safe distance with Caitlin Clark. She could pull up from anywhere, at any time, and make it look easy. But what made her truly special was her mental toughness. No shot was too big for her, no stage too intimidating. In a matchup against Ohio State, she faced double teams all game, but in the closing minutes, she showed why she's unguardable.
Here's Caitlin on the handoff to the hole off the glass.
It's building, and it feels like this arena is about to explode. Caitlin Clark from deep, and then this time.
The bench exploded, fans jumped to their feet, and even neutral spectators had to appreciate the sheer audacity. It was as if she thrived on the pressure, turning tough situations into her own highlight reel. But Caitlin was just as effective in transition. In a game against Maryland, she showcased her quick release in transition. With defenders scrambling back, she pulled up for a three-pointer that felt like it took only a second to reach the net.
Maryland has done enough on the offensive end to not let Iowa run away as they've been efficient. Clark connects!
It was a declaration that no lead was safe. But her range wasn't the only part of her game that stunned spectators. Her playmaking was equally jaw-dropping. In a season filled with highlight reels, one assist stood out. With her team down by 1, she made a no-look pass that threaded between 2 defenders and set her teammate up for an easy basket.
90 seconds left to play here in the first quarter. Looking for Reese. Fagbentley tips it away and off and running. Caitlin Clark wins the pass.
But let's not forget her clutch gene. In a close game, with seconds left on the clock and Iowa down by 3, Caitlin brought the ball up the court.
Her teammates find more confidence.
Clark and 1.
She is incredibly well controlled off of the bounce, absorbing the contact, getting it to go high off.
The arena was in chaos. Her teammates jumped on her as if they'd just won the game, and in many ways, they had. Caitlin's shot wasn't just a bucket, it was a lifeline. It was the kind of moment that defined her season and showcased why she was on everyone's radar. Her performances in these moments turned her season into a highlight reel. The deep threes, the clutch shots, the plays that seemed to defy logic. It was all part of her repertoire. But beyond the stats and the accolades, it was her confidence and swagger that made Caitlin Clark must-watch basketball. Every game, fans showed up not just to see if Iowa would win, but to see what Caitlin Clark would do next. And she never disappointed. She played with an intensity that lit up arenas and made her one of the most compelling stories in sports. Whether it was pulling up from the logo, hitting game winners, or making impossible passes, she did it all with the poise of a seasoned pro. Her season will be remembered not just for the points she scored, but for how she scored them. The shots that made crowds gasp, the plays that left commentators searching for words, and the moments that made her a household name. Caitlin Clark didn't just play basketball this season, she put on a show.